Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we're going to be discussing once again the upcoming German battleship buff. So, for those of you that don't know, which I doubt it's many people on this channel that don't know, German battleships are finally getting a much-needed buff to their dispersion ellipse. Now, the ellipse is going from the German ellipse to the American and British ellipse, according to the dev blog post that was released not all that long ago. And it will be a much welcomed buff to German battleships since they have been rather left behind in the current meta of the game. Now, I'm going to be asking and answering the question today, is this buff really going to help all that much? And I kind of covered this in the initial announcement of this buff video that I put out not that long ago, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper into it today. So, this will certainly help ships, in my opinion at least, like the Kurfürst and the Scharnhorst, German battleships that have 3-barreled turrets. It's going to help them quite a bit. Since, of course, they have more shells firing, they will have more shells landing in a tighter ellipse. Now, the rest of the line that has just dual turrets, so FDG, Bismarck, Tirpitz, oh Lord, what's that? How did I forget the name of the Tier 6 premium that Prince Adolf Friedrich, that the ship that no one really likes anymore, and the rest of the line, it's going to help them a bit, but in my opinion, not as much. Now, granted, I haven't even played it yet, so I won't really know exactly how much of a buff it is until then. And I suspect that it's definitely going to be one of those things where if you just pick up a German battleship and play it after the buff, you may not really notice all that much. However, if you play them a lot all the time like I do, it's by far my most played nation and most played class, German battleships. I will probably notice, maybe not in the first game, but definitely after a while, I suspect I will probably notice that I'll be landing more hits. And is this going to really fix the dispersion? No, not really. It's going to help a little bit, but it's not going to fix the overall problem of German dispersion. And a big part of that just comes from the inherent design of the ships. If you look at ships like the Bismarck and the Tirpitz and the FDG, if you look at their turrets, the guns in the turrets, you'll notice that there's a significant amount of space in between the two guns. So when the shells exit the turret, there's already a fair amount of space in between them, and then dispersion does its thing and they go God knows where. So it will help a bit, and again, it's going to be helping ships like the GK and the Scharnhorst much more than the entire rest of the line. But it's a much needed change, and a much welcome change too. And is it going to help Germans perform better in the current meta? Yes, but I don't think it's enough to bring them up to the standards of other nations. It's a great starting place, in my opinion, but it simply won't be enough. Because the current meta from, I would say hell, even tier 7 on up, but mostly tier 8 on up, is very passive, it's very slow, it's very painful sometimes too, because of all the HE spammy ships that have been added to the game. They've just poured so many of these ships into the game recently that no one really wants to push up, and that's the speciality of the German battleships. They're pushers, but no one really wants to do that anymore, at least not until way late into the game, which would, fair enough, just survive until that point in the game. But German battleships, they're always some of the first ships targeted, especially in the opening minutes of the game, because from longer ranges, everything frickin' pins them. Every battleship will pin a German at range, and will get pretty dang decent pins off of it as well. I think you're actually watching a game in the Kurfürst where I chunk a GK for like 13,000 damage at the start of the game in another Kurfürst. So go figure. Look at that. It's just the nature of the armor and the trade-off for having such great armor at close range. So they struggle there too, which is fine. It's the design of the ship, but again, we're onto the problem of when these ships were designed and released into the game. HE spam was a totally different thing back then than what it is now. German battleships are one of the older classes in the game. When I started, they were actually fairly new, not like brand spanking new, but I don't think they were even out for that long. But that was, again, 2 years ago. If you even just go look at my videos from 2 years ago and just look at the state of play and just how the game was played, it's totally different from what it is now. And the only real thing that would honestly help the Germans big time would just be an overall rework of the Germans, and that's a double-edged sword, because sure, that would help them and get them into the current meta much better, but we would also lose the Germans that we love right now. And I do love the playstyle of the Germans, even though it's the higher tier games are just so toxic right now and full of broken ships. I do still love the gameplay of the Germans. So if they were to just completely change it around, we would lose that. And there is a window of hope that I finally saw some more information on recently. And that is the upcoming IFHE changes. So they released a little update on what they were testing with IFHE. So thank God that change is still coming around the corner, because, like I've said before, I can take the constantly being set on fire and constantly getting little paper cut damages here and there, but I can't take a ship like the Smolensk that can constantly set fires on a GK, but also constantly be getting decent pins off of its superstructure just over and over and over again. And like I've said before, that's just a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. And now it looks like that change is coming, probably not around the corner. Probably gonna be quite some time before they implement that change. But that will be a much welcome change whenever it comes to. So maybe that could help the Germans out more as well, and well, battleships out in general. But it's a welcome change, the ellipse change. The other thing that they could do would be maybe decrease the dispersion as well. But again, you do, like I said, have the issue with just the way the turrets are made. But there's not much else they can do, and it will be a welcome change, and it's going to help out most of the line, even with the 8-gun ships like the Bismarck, Interpret, and FDG. It will help them out. I don't want to say greatly, but it will definitely be a step in the right direction for them. And the ship that I still think needs the most help out of the German battleship line is by far the FDG. An 8-gun battleship at tier 9 with a huge profile, a humongous superstructure in this current meta it's not a fun time. And a lot of time you're going to find yourself battle tanking at the FDG now, just because of the way the current meta is, and only having 4 guns in the front. Boy, it friggin' sucks. And again, German dispersion, so you barely hit anything with it as well. So that ship really needs some love, and they have buffed it in the past, and I really wish I had the current FDG when I grinded through the German battleship line originally, because the FDG of the past, that thing friggin' sucked. It sucked hard. But the current one is much more tolerable, although not good yet. I still think it's probably one of the worst ships. No, I'll be willing to say it is the worst ship in the German battleship line. When I grinded through the whole line the first time, I had a blast. Really, every ship was just fun until I got to the FDG. Then that thing blows, and it still needs help. But anyway, guys, that is my thoughts on how much the German battleship buff will help. And again, just a quick recap: it's going to help quite a bit with ships like the GK and the Schornhorst, but for the rest of the line, it's not going to help tremendously well, but it still will certainly be a step in the right direction for them, and will make playing them a good amount more comfortable, as the announcement said. Anyway, but I hope this is the first of some more tweaks and changes to the Germans that will hopefully be coming out in the future. Anyway, guys, that's what I think about that. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We are on our way to 7,000 subscribers now. I can't thank you guys enough for that. We've had a great couple of months of growth here on the channel. And again, I thank you all so very much for that. So hope to see... Oh, by the way, there will not be a stream tonight. The stream is being moved to tomorrow night, Saturday night at 5 p.m. U.S. Central. So make sure you guys come out tomorrow night for the stream right here on the channel. Alright guys, hope you're having a great day, and hope to catch all of you guys in the next one.